All right, good day, good people. Today we're going to start talking about a couple of points that I think is necessary before you start applying to your dream schools. So sit back, grab a cup of coffee, and we are going to go into this in a minute. So right now we are in 11th grade, we're in 12th grade, and we're really seriously looking at some of these colleges. It's always great to have these lists up, these 10, 15 schools that you want to apply to. The earlier you have them, the better. I always tell parents and students that you really need to hop on these things right away. What are your 10 schools, 10, 15 schools? Where do you want to go? You have some schools you could surely get into, some schools you might get into, and some schools that maybe not. All right. But if you have a GPA of a 3.2, I'm going to tell you, you're going to be a fool if you apply to all the Ivy League colleges and all the top colleges in America with just a 3.0 or a 3.2. And you're not taking into consideration some other schools that you might be qualified for that are good schools that you kind of just put to the side because you're looking for prestige. Now, this is the problem that sometimes happens when, let's say, maybe one of your parents go to a certain school. So plenty of times we see parents from overseas, from Dubai, from Egypt, from London, where maybe their father went to school in America, maybe their father went to Yale, or maybe their mother went to Princeton as an international student. Now you think you have to fulfill their shoes and you have to get into that same school. But guess what? The circumstances may be a little bit different. So you definitely have to make a choice and narrow that down. The sooner, the better. That's just pretty much what you got to do. So we're gonna go into this video, start talking about some other steps that I think that could possibly help you push your journey a little bit forward. So check us out. Now, another reason why I make these videos is that I understand that some of your parents are not going to be able to help with this process. Some of your parents are not going to be able to help. They don't even know where to start. They might not know English. They might not know anything about college. They might just be, just farmers, manual laborers. They don't know anything about that. So you may feel that you're on your own a lot. All right. You might feel that you're on your own. So you definitely have to make sure that you're staying on top of that and utilizing the resources that you have that are there. All right. So take that in consideration as well. Safety is always first when you look at these universities. Some universities are in cities in America that are very dangerous. All right. You have to understand that. I know you want to think big, but you have to understand America can be a very dangerous place. So as long as you take your precautions, hopefully you'll be okay. So when you start talking about cities like Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, Houston, Memphis, Tennessee, Tallahassee, Jacksonville, even smaller cities. All right. Some of these cities have high crime rates and you have to understand what's going on because you'll end up getting yourself shot if you think that, it's easy like that. So you do have to understand that there are some cities in America and some states in America and some neighborhoods and towns that are very violent in nature. Maybe they have high crime rates or high theft rates of these things. All this information is available even through police reports. You can go, let's say if you're looking at Miami and you could put, let's talk about the demographics and the crime in Miami over the past couple of years. And they could tell you whether the crime's been going up, whether it's going down, or whatever it is. So these are things you definitely want to do. Do your due diligence. If you don't know, ask somebody. All right. And don't go there thinking you know everything because you're going to end up in the city. You're going to get gunshots every night. You're going to think you're in Vietnam. So what you need to do is really do your due diligence when it comes to these schools, when it comes to these locations. All right. Now, I always say international students have to be a bit more on top of their paperwork than, let's say, domestic students. International students, have to go through a rigorous process before your paperwork goes through. Whereas domestic students, I've seen domestic students basically, apply for schools like literally like a few days before they decide they want to go. So for example, and we're going to go into what community colleges are. Some community colleges, you could apply right up front and get accepted within minutes. I've seen it happen before. But when you're an international student, you really don't have those options. So it's definitely important for you to get on early and to knock that stuff out. Now, two things that we mentioned before. Number one, we talked about early admission. Now, those early admission students, you kind of have an advantage over people that wait for regular admission. Now, early admission means that, like I said before, that you apply for these schools, and then maybe you'll get an acceptance letter early, maybe September or in October, and then you can decide whether you want to go or not. Now, if you pick early admission, what you do, you have to pull out all of your other applications from other schools. So think about it like maybe somebody who wants to be a professional football player. A bunch of teams are interested in him. He goes out for Manchester United tryouts. Manchester United says, we want you. You commit to sign to Manchester United. Now, once you commit to Manchester United or the New York Knicks or the Boston Red Sox, whatever team you commit to, you can't go now and keep applying to other schools because you're pretty much taken off the market. So think about early admission like that. If you accept your early admission, acceptance from the school, then rest assured you're going to have to pull away from all the other universities they're expecting you to come. Another good characteristic of early admission, like I mentioned before, is that it generally means that there's also some money around. I wouldn't take early admission unless they're covering a substantial amount of your tuition, a substantial amount. I would almost like to say full rides, because they want you, you're advanced and you're in. All right, now let's start talking about some money. And you want to let them know that as well. Say, listen, I have some other schools that's out there, but I kind of want to get an idea about some of the financial things we're going to be dealing with. Are there any additional scholarships that I can get? Remember, I mentioned to you about scholarships before. Some scholarships you could actually get during the semester. I've been called into offices before where they say, hey, listen, we have some scholarships available for you. We automatically put it on your bill to take out from your tuition. And some schools do that as well. All right. Another category of scholarships you may see is when you see these full ride scholarships. So let's say, for example, you get a scholarship for the school for $30,000, and then you might get another scholarship for $5,000. All right. Now, what will happen is that the scholarship in the school will be kind of like a sliding fee. They'll cover anything else you didn't get. So let's say if you got a $15,000 scholarship from somewhere else and your tuition is $30,000, they may pay $15,000 or whatever it is. All right. So a lot of scholarships, they have that in schools where, for example, they will cover anything that's not covered. But if you have other scholarships and other grants, it's not like you could just put the money in your pocket. That's going to adjust in what the school is offering you. Your package is going to adjust. So keep that in mind as well. And the reason why I mentioned that location is so important is I knew a kid one time who came from the United Arab Emirates. It was a Dubai kid, and he decided that he wanted to come and study at Temple University. All right, Temple University is one of the flagship colleges, universities in Philadelphia, which is in the state of Pennsylvania. Well, somewhere down the line, he decided that he wanted to go to University of Oklahoma. Now, me personally, being from America, and I know, and shout out to all people from Oklahoma, but I don't know much about Oklahoma. I know about Tulsa and Oklahoma City, but this guy went to a town in Oklahoma that was away from everything. So he was with his wife, and he experienced a little bit of anxiety because he was in a place where it's not as diverse as, let's say, Philadelphia or New York. So he was getting some stares. People were being a little funny with him. He was sometimes afraid to go out. His wife didn't really feel as welcoming out there. So basically, he had to pick up and come back to the East Coast and go to school. So just because you see these schools and you think, oh, they're nice, you really need to check and see what's the environment, what's the climate. As America, as an American, there's some place that I won't even go to, and I'm from America. But if you're from somewhere else, they'll try to sell you these colleges. So they'll say, okay, whenever a college starts talking about great parks and great nature and great wildlife, rest assured that 9 times out of 10, that campus is in the middle of nowhere. I know another guy that went to go study in South Dakota. I don't even know how to get to South Dakota. All right. But South Dakota is mountains and cowboys and barbecue, whatever they do out there in South Dakota. All right. He decided he wanted to go to school in South Dakota because he just wanted to get to America by any means necessary. However, he went to South Dakota. He was miserable because the state probably only has about 100 people. I'm just kidding. There are people in South Dakota. But I say to say that these little small towns, you might not want to be on them, or you might want to be in them. Me personally, I love small towns. Other people, they don't like small towns. They want to be around their family members. They want to be able to go to the malls late. They want to be able to hang out. Some people are concerned about nightlife and all these other things. So you have to look at all these things when you're looking at these cities. Now, if you're trying to go to West Bobaluku, somewhere in Idaho, with a population of 50 people, you're gonna get what you get. All right. Now, you might say, look, I might want to be down in Boise, which is a nice sized city, and cities are a bit more diverse sometimes. And that's one thing you do have to understand. In America, the cities have a conglomerate of people, a lot of different people from all over the world. You hear different languages on the streets everywhere. So those areas are going to be more populated and more diverse than, let's say, Tougaloo up in Texas somewhere. There might only be cowboys, horses, and cows. All right. So usually these cities are more diverse than, let's say, even outside the city. They're used to seeing different people. They're used to hearing different languages. They're used to, being open-minded to different change. And sometimes in the country, it might not be like that all the time. Not all of them, but you do have to take this into consideration when you're studying to be a student in America.
Pull up on Linux like a pit stop. Fifth cock. Shit make beats like Rick Rock.
I can't reiterate more than enough times to please make sure that you are doing a research on the places that you are trying to go study. So if you're interested in big cities, look at the big cities: New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, Miami, Atlanta, these Houston, these big cities that that you want to go to. You have to check these cities out. All right. Look on Wikipedia, look on some websites, talk to your friends. Go to the city's actual website. Find out how many people are there. Check out the crime statistics. Check out what other activities they have. Are you traveling with your family? Okay, what kind of family programs do they have? What can I do on the weekends? If I'm in the middle of nowhere, how far is it for me to get to other major cities? So these are things you definitely want to make sure you want to look at. What type of school do I want to go to, and where do I want the location to be? And this is going to save you time in the long run as well. Also, you're going to have to get used to these American accents, okay? I'm from the East Coast, so unfortunately, I talk a mile a minute. People out California, West Coast usually talk a bit lower laid back, same as like in the South, all right? You're going to also pick up a lot of different accents, all right? Accents from all over. Some cities are so big that different ends of the city have different accents. So you're going to pick a lot of this stuff up, all right? You're going to pick it up down in the South. You're going to pick it up in the West. You're going to pick it up in North. And it's really good. I always say before you go to America, take some time to even look at some shows and some things like that and get used to hearing people talking English, all right? The safest bet, like I say, are the children's kiddie shows and the news, all right? Whether it's Jazeera in English or some other news in English, because you want to start getting used to some of these professional terms instead of, hey, man, what's up? That's not English. That's just, casual type stuff. But you want to start getting used to some of these big words, some of these big college words, all right? And that will lead into also my other part where I need you guys to really start doing 10 to 15 vocabulary words a day. I'm going to tell you, my father used to do this, okay? They used to send me home with spelling words, and my father would make me actually write the sentences out as well to help you with it. So the only way you're going to build your English skill is if you listen and you build your vocabulary. There's no other way to do it that's going to be as effective as that. You got to stop being lazy. You have to start writing the words, listening to them, and learning 10 new words a day. You realize that if you really learn 10 new words a day, that's 70 new words a week. 70 new words a week, all right? 280 new words in a month. Think what you could cover just in the summer or just in a month's 2 time. You could do this yourself. You just can't wait for the colleges to come to educate you. You have to be on top of that. It's just that simple. Questions, comments, short speeches, subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and we will hit you next time with another video helping you guys get to America and study at your dream university.
That thing then. Yeah. That's what I mean medication. No.